Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Casey, and we're parents of a late talker.
A late talker is a child who reaches the language milestone a little later than what is expected.
You expect to have, a normal pattern of language, and that just, for whatever reason, he or she doesn't have those, the words to say. And you don't know if it's because it's behavioral or if it's because something physical.
I feel like our situation is a little unique because we had twins.
With one that had all of his milestones, he was hitting them on time, and then the other one wasn't. We were new parents. We didn't know what to expect.
Why is he talking and he's not? So I think for me, I was worried.
It's very difficult to compare, or to not to compare the two, when you have one who was very, very articulate and one who was hardly making any sounds. We definitely felt alone. We didn't know anyone personally who had a child who was a late talker. That we didn't know that our children had autism, and we were kind of going through that journey. It was a long process, and we didn't know anyone who was going through anything exactly like ours.
I think that the best advice given to me early on was to build attachment. And so that became kind of my mantra in a way. And so every aspect of parenting, I had that in the back of my mind, is what I'm doing helping to build attachment. Our children have always been, loving and affectionate. And now they show in different ways. Like our late talker, he was 6 years old before I first heard the words, "I love you," and yeah. But at the same time, he was extremely attached, to me. And even now, you can feel like he loves with his whole heart and his whole body. It's just that society's expectations of a child showing love might be through language and saying words like, "I love you," when some people just aren't built that way. To build attachment, that really gave me focus in how I played with them, how I interacted with them.
We wanted all of our interactions to be positive, and so that he would be encouraged to speak. Because if he was not having fun, then he would be less likely to say anything. And so we wanted him to always be happy and ready to say something if he was ready to say something. If your child is not hitting their milestones, don't wait, don't bury your head in the sand. If you have the ability to reach out to a doctor or therapist that ask questions and say, hey, get them involved in therapy as soon as possible, whether that's speech therapy or occupational therapy, what have you. And because that's what we did. And I have her to thank for that, because I was sort of in denial at first. I was like, oh, it's okay. It's gonna happen eventually. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and she was on the ball, and she was getting them what she felt that they needed. I guess you'd call it motherly instinct or what, but I
always feel like, I've always gone with my gut, and it has not failed me. I saw, that he wasn't speaking, wasn't babbling. And so I did the baby sign language and, stuff with him, and he used it. He would do all done.
Yep.
When he was eating. So he was communicating through sign. When he was about 3, right around his 3rd birthday, he was telling me he wanted chocolate ice cream, and it sounded like, Taha, but I knew what he was trying to say, chocolate. So just changing the way that I looked at communication and trying to really train my ear to, what is he trying to say?
The sign language thing was amazing, because I didn't think that, he had that ability, because, you don't hear him speak, you don't know what's inside. So if you don't hear a child speak, you have no idea what's going on in their brains. And he totally would tell us more, and thank you, please, and all done, and water. And he would tell you when he was hungry and thirsty. So that was a big thing for us. I think he was able to speak in a complete sentence around the time that he started school, like around kindergarten, maybe. You think
Yeah,
around
it's about
maybe around
kindergarten.
age 5, maybe.
And he had a language burst around then, in which it was so interesting to me that now that he was finally able to speak sentences, and he was telling me things that happened to him that he was upset about, in pre-K, a year or two before, like having his feelings hurt and hiding under the slide and things like that. And, I'm trying to figure out, did this happen today? And it's something that happened 2 years ago, but it's almost like now I finally have the words that where I can tell you this. So I'm going to tell you all these things that, that have bothered him for years. So, and that it's kind of sad in a way, because you feel like he was trapped. He was trapped for a while. So where Patrick is today with his language, he has reciprocal conversations. He talks a lot.
He definitely, yeah, he talks a lot. His speech, he sounds, his enunciation is a little bit. He still sees a speech therapist, so some of the words and vowel sounds and R sounds are still
W.
Yep, W's. He still has problems with. So I don't know how much longer those will persist, or maybe they stay with him through life. But you can understand him. He can communicate with people. We're very blessed. We're very lucky. Patrick is awesome. He definitely came out of his shell. It took a while, but he's there now.
What he has taught me in life, he never gives up. His perseverance, he learned how to ride a bike in like a 24-hour period because he must have fallen off 100 times, but he got back up every time.
He's definitely not afraid to try until he gets it, because he gets enjoyment out of incremental progress. He's able to do things that we, when he was young, we couldn't see that far.
Right.
We were very trapped in the now.
He does karate, and he just got his yellow belt, so he's very proud of that. And what I've learned from him is that you don't place limitations on any person, child or adult, because and we don't. I feel like it sounds cliche, but I do feel like the sky's the limit for him, because he knows struggle, and he's always had to work, and work hard, and he's not afraid to do that. And that's something that you can't teach. I feel like that when a child has that, they have it, and he has it. When he was 2 and 3, if you told me that he would be playing music, taking piano and doing karate, I think that would have been really difficult to see then.
There's always more than what meets the eye, especially with Patrick. So you never know what is inside. It just can't come out, because it will come out. It can come out. It's just, when is it going to happen? So just don't give up hope.
I can't wait to see what he does and where he ends up in his life, because I do expect great things for him.